Good evening, children. Welcome to the third and final video for Standard 9th. We were discussing No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. It's a poetry about universal brotherhood. Now, the fourth and fifth stanza remained. Let's discuss that. It said, let us remember whenever we are told. So whenever we is alliteration. We are told to hate our brothers. We have to continue to the second verse. That is your enjambment. Then our brothers, ourselves. It is alliteration again. That we shall dispossess, betray and condemn. Dispossess, disowning. Betray, dhokha dena, to cheat someone. And condemn is to disappreciate someone. Right? To insult someone. To pull down someone. This is condemning. Remember, it's we who is against alliteration, arms against. It is your assonance. Basically, this is about, the idea is about going to war against another nation is going to war against ourselves. And words, we are disposing our own existence. We are betraying ourselves and we are pulling ourselves down. Now the final verse of this stanza, of this poetry, final stanza of this poetry rather, it is the human earth that we defile. Our hells of fire and dust outrage, the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. So you again see second and third line is enjambment. Now you see our hells of fire and dust. Our hells of fire, what's the word meaning? I will come all together. Outrage the innocence. This is, I told you as it is, enjambment of air that is everywhere our own. Of air that is our own, O, that is your alliteration. Assonance, no, it's not assonance. It's alliteration. R is with A, and O. The A and O are not alliteration, it is assonance. Remember, no men are strange and no country is foreign. So no, you can clearly see it is repetition. And the longer repetition is, since it's not a line, it's just a word, so we can't call it refrain. We have to refer to it as repetition, and that is remember. And the refrain here is, remember no man is strange, no country is foreign. It ends with, remember no men are strange and no men are foreign, no country is strange. That is your refrain. Foreign means outside. Any other word? Harvest means when the your crop is ready to cut. That is called harvest. There is another one. Inversion used in the second stanza, second verse. Starved. It's V-E-D. He has written V post V-D. Starved. So that is inversion, to make it just look cute. That's the idea of the poet. Because it's very serious poetry, so some seriousness to cuteness, he has used this poetic device called inversion. Then the two things that I told I will defile. Defile means to make something ugly. Basically, defile means to make something ugly by making it dirty, by polluting it, by doing whatever you say. Defile just is making to make ugly. Our hells of fire and dust. Our hells of fire and dust stand for when we go to war, we bomb a place and there is lots of dust and fire over there, basically creating hell on earth. Hell is associated with fire, peace is associated with heaven. So when there is peace in earth, it equals to heaven, and when there is a war, there is bombarding, there is shooting, there is killing, it turns into hell. And it says our hell, the hell is created by us, not by God. That's why he has used the term our hells of fire. Now we come to the summary of the poetry. In the first three stanzas, the poet has tried to tell the readers or his audience to remember one simple rule, that no men are outsiders. So the idea the poet is trying to spread is, we should be one and behave like one. We should not discriminate people just because we are not familiar with their ways. As simple as that. A simple idea given with a very strong message. You see, When we dislike someone to the extent that we go to war, what do? We destroy the entire peace, harmony, and setup. Two countries fighting leads to disharmony between the entire countries in the world. Poet is a big advocate of a world government, a universal brotherhood. Let's forget the world government, at least begin with the universal brotherhood concept. Now let's come to the question and answers of this chapter. First question is, what does uniform represent? Well, uniform represent many things. He uses the word uniform just because the uniforms of armies of every country is different from the other, so easily distinguishable. The point is, there are other things which easily distinguishes between two people. They have their culture, their traditional clothing, the language they speak, or anything that displays their unique identity, which makes them different from others. Right? It may not suit you, or it may seem infeasible to you, but they are their own. We should accept them as our brothers or sisters, as the case may be, and respect them for their being. Now let's move to the next question. Similarities between people. Lots of similarities the poet has shown. I have tried to find a few, and there are lots more than what you find in this list. The bodies are similar. Anatomy is similar, of course. The physical features are always similar between humans. You take up the clothes and the same body is over there. We all need to breed. Be it a person from Russia or be it a person from Japan, they all need to breed. We live on the same planet, right? How easy it is. We live on the same planet. And we all shall die and would be a part of a land, any other, be it cremated, be it buried. It is same. The poet says buried, but we should appreciate the idea that the poet was trying to give. Now, the sun is same for everybody, water is same for everybody, and the air is same for everybody. We don't generate separate air for each individual, right? When there is peace, we are fed with peaceful harvests, isn't it? Every individual is bound to suffer during war and winter because of starvation. Now we are talking about the European condition where the winter is severe and they don't have any cropping there. Not talking about India where Rabi, Kharif and all the other three cropping seasons that we have developed over here because of our natural conditions. We are talking about Europe. The poet is British and he is associating himself with the World War, and that's why he said winter is the month of starvation. Winters are period of starvation, and so are war. So is war rather. We all have the same fate. My fate is no different from the fate of anybody else. Human beings are destined for hard work. If we work hard, that's when we survive. Everybody has to go to sleep and to wake up. See, simple similarities. The poet has used simple examples. And no matter how strong you are, if anybody shows love, human beings are bound to follow you. That's how human beings are similar. Anywhere, you go to anywhere, love is bound to win over anybody. Now, what happens if we go to war? That was the last question of the chapter. First thing is, we dispossess, betray and condemn ourselves. War is betraying ourselves, condemning ourselves, disposing ourselves. The person you are killing is your brother. How can you do that? Second thing, it makes our planet ugly. We bombard, we destroy whatever we had built. And I showed you some pictures in the previous video. That's how war is ugly. and we pollute the air. And you see, two countries are fighting, and this enragement moves to other parts of the world, and that is sort of polluting. And what do we do? Who do we kill? Who do we win upon? Our own brothers? That's a simple message. After the exercises and after reading the poet, we can simply conclude that fighting or getting into argument or getting to let people down is the worst that we can do. So the message you can learn, children, is try to love people. Try to love people with their heart. You think they are wrong? Don't judge them. Just try to provide them with the belief and support, and thirdly, they will be yours. Well, this will be all for this week. Let's keep it for another week. Goodbye.